Strange, but in Japan, you have to wash before you get into the bath. The idea of a bath being that you just sit and relax. And if you don't wash, it's a serious no-no. For centuries, Japan isolated itself from the rest of the world. When the barriers opened, it became Asia's economic superpower. 123 million people live on this chain of 1,000 islands, prone to earthquakes, tidal waves and volcanic eruptions. My journey starts in Tokyo. From there, it's south all the way. I visit the island of Kyushu and then on to Okinawa. Finally, the Yokoyama Islands near Taiwan, right at the end of the chain. If it's peace and quiet you want, don't come to Tokyo. It's fast, loud and exciting. Tokyo is a non-stop, high-energy sprawl of concrete and neon. It's not a beautiful city, but it's exciting, exotic and a big culture shock for Westerners. Very few foreigners live in Japan, but there are a number of young Western women who make a good living in hostess bars. Some of them get up on stage and dance about in flimsy costumes. Others get paid just for conversational skills. I was on my way to meet two English sisters, Claire and Jules. They've been in Tokyo for about 2 years and spent every night in the company of 70 other women from all over Europe and North America. Japanese men pay a great deal of money just for the privilege of talking to these women.
We chat.
You chat?
We chat.
Yeah.
We get paid to chat and drink.
Yeah.
Basically, you're here to entertain them, to make sure that they've got a drink when they want it, and then there's change their ashtray, to look after them.
Is there a lot of money to be had working there?
We couldn't earn this kind of money anywhere else in the world. No.
So how much do you think you take a night, say in pounds?
150 quid a night.
150 quid a night?
$250 to $300.
The customers don't touch us. Like we've been told, that is the rule.
Right. And have you got regulars that come in and say?
Yeah, some people come in every night.
Yeah?
You wonder like what kind of life they must lead, but
What sort of people do you get coming in there then?
we get mostly businessmen.
Right, is it mostly Japanese businessmen or?
No, there's a lot of Gaijins come in. It's probably about 60-40, more Japanese.
A lot of what? Gaijins?
Gaijin.
What are they?
Us. We're Gaijin.
Anyone who is not Japanese is a Gaijin.
Right,
It literally means alien.
Yeah, it doesn't mean
That's the
alien.
literal translation.
Alien.
Feeling a wee bit like an alien, I stumbled out into the Tokyo nightlife. One thing that I really like about Tokyo is that it feels really safe to be out on the streets. And there's virtually no crime here. So walking around is like quite all right. And that goes for women as well. It's a really safe country to come to. Just going to get my ticket for my Kippu. 13 million people live in Tokyo. It's one of the most densely populated cities on Earth. There are both public and private lines and thousands of stations. And it's very easy to buy the wrong ticket. This ticket is not valid at this station. This station, Shinjuku, handles over 2 million people a day. And while people will try and help you, nobody speaks English. Harajuku? Ah, that's the one. Tokyo is one of the most crowded and most confusing cities in the world. And you have to pick up some of the lingo or you'd be lost. I mean, it's not my strongest point, but it doesn't help that they've got 3 different alphabets. So I think I'm going to be in a bit of trouble out here, but I'll suss it out. A Tokyo resident told me that most Japanese want to be either American or British. And there's no better place to see the Japanese love affair with the West than in Yoyogi Koen Park. Every Sunday, young people gather to act out their favourite rock fantasies. All musical styles are acceptable here, and it's a great place to check out all those fashions that you had hoped died years ago. It's all taken very seriously and contradicts the idea that the Japanese are a nation of reserved, uptight people. The wrong kind of hairstyle in the wrong part of the park is a serious breach of etiquette and can lead to some harsh words. On the whole, foreigners are treated very well in Japan, and it's extremely rare to get in any trouble. I was going to meet 2 more English women, Jo and Louise. They've lived in Tokyo for 5 years and work in another hostess bar. They were going to give me the lowdown on the life in the city. What's the major differences then?
Differences. Everything runs on time. Everything's convenient. You can get everything you want. Do everything you want.
Is that what are the best things about Tokyo?
The best thing must be that it's really safe.
Yeah?
You know, you can sleep with your door wide open and nobody would walk in. You could leave your purse on the table, walk off for an hour, come back and it will still be there.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
it's
girls
just
can
great.
walk 4 o'clock in the morning in a dark street and everything, no problem.
Wow.
Even in the main nightclub areas, nobody hassles you. It's wonderful.
What about money? Isn't it really expensive? Is that a problem?
Well, it depends. If you're a tourist here, oh, it must be awful. But if you're earning your money in yen, then, you know, you can get by.
Date Japanese guys, Western guys? Or what?
Used to, yeah. We used to be really into Japanese guys, but
we've given up. Yeah.
Why is that?
A bit of a culture difference, you know. It's great at first, but then you end up like nearly killing each other, you know.
Why? Why is there
very
different
difficult.
attitudes? Do you think?
It's totally different. I mean, the mentality is so far apart from us, and I think the Japanese men kind of find us a little bit, well, intimidating. For a start, they're not used to Westerners anyway, and then, you know,
They think that we've got too much to say for ourselves.
right, basically they think.
Tokyo is one of the most expensive places on earth, and some items are unbelievably costly. Should we get some fruit?
It depends how rich you are.
Why?
Well, 1 apple, 2,000 yen.
How much was that in English?
About £14, £15 or
£14
something.
for 1 apple?
Yeah. Look at the melons.
Why?
Go and look at the
Where's the
melons.
melons?
You get 2 tiny little musk melons for £60.
Shut up.
Melons over there.
10,000
Where?
yen.
That is a joke.
I know.
It's usual though. You have to be pretty rich to eat fruit around here.
Fruit was out of the question, but sushi bars are cheap and the food is reliable as long as you like raw fish. So how does this work then?
You just take off whatever you want, okay? But each dish is a different colour, and the colour of the dish coincides with the price, okay? So like
They'll just count your plates at the end.
I've got to grab
So
one
go
of
on,
these
take
because
one.
that looks
Oh,
so
wow.
foul.
go on, let's try. Where's my... before you eat,
Yeah?
in Japanese you have to say itadakimasu. It's like French bon appetit, isn't it? We don't have it in English, right?
What was it?
It's like itadakimasu.
Ikadakimasu.
Do you know what you're eating?
No idea.
Well, it's squid, raw squid with caviar, like
Oh,
Fish
right.
eggs.
Yeah.
The yellow things are the fish eggs.
It's like
With
chewing,
dried seaweed on the outside.
chewing on an elastic band.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, this ginger is the best, though. Oh, look at
It's
that.
like it.
Definitely time to get out of Tokyo. Sometimes it can really be a bit much. So I've decided to go to the country, take it easy, do a bit of skiing, which I hadn't done before. Can take the famous bullet train. I also got me packed lunch for the journey. The bullet train is not as fast as the French TGV, but it does reach speeds of 160 miles per hour. It's smooth, quiet, always punctual, and very expensive. There are more than 300 snowfields in Japan, and I'm heading to the resort of Zao Onsen, 2.5 hours away. This is my lunch for the train. It's called bento. It's what everybody eats here in Japan. That's not bad, actually. That's salty fish. Oh. This is the first time we've left buildings for about nearly 2 hours. Straight out in the snow. Get them skis on. Oh dear. It's people get in the way, you know what it's like. Oh, I did lie. I've been once before, but only once. But that's when I was 15, and that was the school. I can't remember. But it's just like riding a bike. I am so out of control. Best things that I've ever done, but I don't know what the Japanese think, as I've like cut about 5 of them up already, just whizzing them past, because I'm just so out of control. It's just brilliant though, absolutely brilliant. Snowboarders have a dangerous reputation, but Marcel seemed fairly civilised. He's an Englishman living in Tokyo and blowing all his money on the white powder.
We have a very good standard of life, and it's interesting because we live sort of on the fringes of society, I think. You're never accepted, however well you speak Japanese or try to conform, you won't ever be a Japanese person.
I'm shattered, and plus I'm getting a bit too dangerous on the slopes. So I'm going to take some time out. What better thing to do? Take a hot bath in these natural springs. Roasting. Wow, that's unbelievable. Ooh. Ah. Oh. Being sensible people, the Japanese see no reason to stop skiing just because it gets dark. Just stick up a few lights and you could go on all night. After my stay in the mountains, it was back to Tokyo to pick up a flight south to the island of Kyushu. In the centre of the island is the volcanic region of Aso. From there, I travel west to Nagasaki and then south to Kagoshima. After the furious pace of Tokyo and the international feel of the ski slopes, I felt as though I was finally getting into the real Japan. I was even going to stay in a traditional small Japanese hotel called a ryokan. Japan's main religions are Shinto and Buddhism. There have been Buddhist shrines on this spot since 281 BC.
Some money in and take the fortune out, yeah?
Yes.
Right. And how does this work, this fortune?
You have to open it.
Yeah. So what's this mean then? What does this say?
The happiest one in the world.
Yeah? Brilliant.
The work, your work works very well.
I work very well?
Yeah.
Call this a job?
And negotiation will be done very well.
My what?
Negotiation.
Negotiation.
And, negotiation. And
Right.
romance, you will have a red hot romance later.
I'll be over there, yeah. Anything, what was that thing about rumours?
Rumors?
No? Scandal?
No, nothing
No
about
scandal?
it. Everything goes well with your fortune.
Yeah?
And health, no worries.
No?
But be careful about flu.
Flu?
Flu.
Flu.
The Japanese celebrate the changing seasons, particularly in the rural areas. In Aso, the coming of spring is marked by a 2-day festival. During the day, there's dancing, singing, eating and drinking. At night, the atmosphere of the festival changes.
This is the Aso Fire Festival. It's the burning off of the old crops to let new ones come through, symbolising the coming of spring. Ooh. Oh. Right, I can't hang about because I've just got to go over here and swing some fire. I think you know what I mean. Oh, I've got a bit in my eye.
Good morning, dear. Good morning. Yeah?
Ohayou gozaimasu.
Wake up, bad boy.
Give me a chance, man. Oh, I'm getting up, okay. Oh,
Bad boy.
bad boy.
Breakfast. Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bit rainier.
Good morning.
Breakfast in there? Breakfast in there?
No speak English. Sorry. You child.
Excuse me. Oh, this is a traditional Japanese house called a ryokan. It's got everything you would expect, like walking around in slippers. It's got sliding paper doors. You sleep on a futon, and of course, this lovely outfit with a nice quilted jacket there. But amongst all this traditional stuff, there's high tech as well. Come and check this out. I'm sorry, I've got to show you this. Look at this. This is a computerised toilet seat. It's got everything. And the best thing about it is, it's got a heater that warms up the bowl. So when you sit down, it's heaven. Oh. Right, this is breakfast. Well, I recognise the eggs, but I'm not a fried egg person myself, and it's a bit cold. But this looks interesting. Yep. That gets the thumbs up. Don't know what this is. That's good. Hello. How do I eat this? Do I? No? Got a strange feeling about this. And now? Yeah. Just pour it in. Mix. Breakfast in the morning. Interesting. The Japanese are fanatical about golf, but there aren't many golf courses over here, and the ones that are here are really, really expensive. So a lot of people spend most of their time in places like this. Wow! Oh yeah, this is another Japanese sport that's really popular. And again, as there's no space, you've got these inside practice courts. He's on a roll. When in Japan, be prepared not to understand hardly any of the signs when you're out here, like that one. And I swore that while in Japan, I would definitely not embarrass myself by doing karaoke. But back at the ryokan, I was persuaded to perform. You have made my life complete, and I love you so. Love me, and love.
The Japanese girl is very beautiful. Japanese girl, beautiful.
For my darling, I love you, and I always will. Encore? You must be joking. Get out, no.
Yeah, once more, please.
That was painful. Given that Mama-san had often woken me and even tied my dressing gown, I felt that it would be okay to kiss her goodbye. But remember, most Japanese prefer a bow and a handshake. Travelling by bus is fairly trouble-free in Japan and relatively inexpensive. From Aso to Nagasaki is a 2-hour ride going southwest. Nagasaki was the first city in Japan to establish links with the West. As early as the 16th century, Portuguese traders and Christian missionaries were visiting Nagasaki and influencing Japanese culture. Of course, Nagasaki is known throughout the world as the target for the second atomic bomb dropped by the Allies at the end of World War II. On the 9th of August 1945, an American Air Force bomber unloaded a 4.5-ton bomb on the north part of the city. Almost 1/3 of the population died instantly. Since then, Nagasaki has become a centre for peace campaigns, and people from all over the world visit the Peace Museum. Yuko is one of the guides.
It exploded in the air,
Right.
500 meters above the ground.
Was it right in the centre?
No, exploded in the suburbs area. That's why the number of the victims was smaller than that of in Hiroshima.
Right. What was the number of victims?
74,000 people were killed instantly, and another 75,000 people were injured.
In the 50 years since the bomb was dropped, thousands more people have died from sickness caused by radiation.
In 5 years or so, they developed leukemia.
Right. So
Died.
the figure's still going up for people that die?
Yes, that's right. The surface temperature of the bomb was 7,000 degrees centigrade.
Yeah.
If you compare the degree with the surface temperature of the sun,
Yeah.
it is 6,000 degrees centigrade. So the fireball was more higher than the surface temperature of the sun.
Nagasaki has been completely rebuilt since the bomb, and today it feels just like another ordinary town.
There's one thing you'll find all over Japan, in small towns or big cities, and it's gambling halls like this. The name of the game is pachinko.
I never really got to understand pachinko, but it's got something to do with getting small steel balls in the right hole. Like most forms of gambling, pachinko generates large amounts of money and a certain amount of crime. The Japanese mafia, the Yakuza, are said to control the pachinko parlours.
Japanese people are very polite. In fact, they're so polite that if they've got a cold, they wear one of these masks on their face so they don't spread germs.
From Nagasaki to Kagoshima is a 40-minute flight. Kagoshima is the southernmost city of Kyushu. Its 500,000 inhabitants live in the shadow of a nearby active volcano. Leaving the city behind, I headed to the beach. But at last I decided to have a day out at the seaside. It's my first beach in Japan. Although it's looking a bit grey and overcast, I've got this feeling that things are going to get a bit warmer. I haven't got a clue what's going on here. Sorry? Oh, I take my shoes off, yeah? Oh, what, I'm going in there? There's a lot of diggers there. Oh, sorry. Sumimasen. Oh, blimey, it's getting hot. Oh. Things are just getting spookier and spookier. Oh, what's that for? Can I have an ice cream? I wasn't entirely sure what was happening, but luckily for me, my neighbour turned out to be an Irish woman called Kathy, who had lived in Kagoshima for a couple of years and knew the procedure. What is this about? Why do people do it?
It's supposed to take all the poison out of your blood and your body.
Yeah?
And refresh you. And it's good for health. A lot of older people come here.
Yeah.
And,
Come here a lot?
Yeah, they come. Some people from around here come here every day. And just for health reasons.
Yeah.
The hot sands are good for your blood.
Do you feel healthy?
Young and virile.
Feel healthier after you've had? Do you feel healthier after you've had one?
I feel tired. I've done it
Yeah?
a few times now. I always feel really tired afterwards,
Yeah.
but refreshed somehow.
It is so hot. I feel like a pizza in an oven. Why is it so hot? Is it the volcanic?
Well, the sea down there is hot, and the mountain behind us, long ago, thousands of years ago, it was a volcano, Mount Kaimandake.
Yeah.
And now it's an extinct volcano now, but the sea and the sands around here are very hot.
What's the nightlife in town like?
Well, tonight we'll have a chance to go out. There's lots of bars, Japanese-style bars, where lots of young people go out.
Oh yeah.
It's drinking beer,
Yeah.
sitting around chatting.
Do they get funky?
Well, there's lots of karaoke.
Before going out for a night on the town, Kathy invited me to meet some people for lunch. Most Japanese food I really like, but it's so healthy, sometimes I really crave for a bit of grease. Last night I cracked a big bowl of chips, about that big, size of a small town, in a fast food restaurant. But hey, it's not going to happen again. As you might have gathered, food in Japan takes some getting used to for Westerners. There are so many flavours and textures which are strange at first, but it's a whole lot healthier than the average Western diet. Japan has a low rate of heart disease, and apart from sumo wrestlers, it's very rare to see overweight people. Eating out in Japan is expensive. A meal like this costs about $100 a head. Even when you just want to go for a drink in Japan, there's always food involved. South of Kyushu are a string of small islands going all the way to Taiwan. The largest of these is Okinawa, scene of the last battle of World War II. American forces captured the island after horrific battles and controlled Okinawa until 1972. There are still 50,000 US troops stationed on the island. Towards the end of the battle for Okinawa, the Japanese Navy built a secret underground headquarters from which to direct the fighting. By hand, they dug out over a mile of tunnels. These tunnels were to become their grave and the site of one of the biggest mass suicides ever known. I was being shown around by a young American who works for the Okinawan government.
So, how long ago was this built?
This was built in 1944.
And how did they build it?
It was actually carved out of stone. Most of the finer points were carved out using pickaxes.
Yeah.
This was actually the medical room where the wounded soldiers would come and receive treatment. And a lot of people came.
Can't cram anyone in there, can
you? Pretty bloody. What was done in the tunnels, the Japanese didn't want to lose face and be captured alive, so what they did was they committed suicide here.
In here?
Yeah, in the tunnels.
Jeez.
You could actually see along the walls remnants of grenades. The Japanese either disemboweled themselves or they just threw a grenade. You could see that some markings on the wall.
Jeez, how many was that then?
There were about 4,000 Japanese who committed suicide here. Yeah. It actually took the American military about 2 or 3 weeks after the battle was ended before they found the underground quarters here.
What, so the battle was over and then they discovered the tunnels?
Sure.
The battle for Okinawa was one of the most tragic episodes of the war. It wasn't just military personnel who died, there were heavy civilian losses as well.
When the Japanese realised they'd lost the battle for Okinawa, many civilians also committed suicide rather than be captured by the US Army, what they considered to be barbarians. And this is where they jumped to their death.
If your shopping list includes battle dress and instruments of war, then Okinawa is the place to be.
Who buys this sort of stuff? Have you got one in pink? Long spaghetti. Yeah, 3 of them, 2. Well, I used to be into this sort of stuff when I was about 12, but then the head of my Action Man dropped off and just lost something that day. Japan has its share of natural dangers like volcanoes and earthquakes, but there shouldn't be too many creepy crawlies or things that sting and bite if you visit Japan. The only thing to worry about is a habu snake, but here in Okinawa, they've got their own way of dealing with it.
This happens every day in Okinawa. A snake and a mongoose fight to the death for the amusement of the crowds. The mongoose always wins.
Why don't they just go to bingo instead? Something else to do, like they could have a big link up with Tokyo. I mean, it'd be here longer, it would cost less money, and they'd win prizes as well. What I really want to see is the geezer in red, nothing on, in there, 8 o'clock with 2 snakes. That's what I want to see.
Animal rights are not a major issue in Japan. In Okinawa, the islanders are also keen on their own particular brand of bullfighting. Well, that's about it for me, I think. I thought I did well lasting 5 minutes, but that's got to be one of the saddest things that I've seen. What's going on? I mean, I'm off. Okinawa folk music has been adapted and modernised by a band called Champ Blues. They're very big in Japan, and the manager is called Paul Newman. Is there quite a good mixture on the island between the Americans and the Okinawans? Is there like a fusion of culture there?
Very, very much. In the city of Naha here, it's more or less you're looking at a lot of Japanese influence. But if you go up north from here about an hour into Koza City, basically most military bases are centered around that town, and it caters for Americans and foreigners. The club systems, the nightlife, the shopping centers are all catered towards Western people. And you'll find a lot of mix. Okinawans playing with Americans, Americans playing with Okinawans. If you go out in town, you'll see them all over the place. Okinawans have become international, basically.
Yeah.
You know, they've been around Americans and foreigners for so long that it's just naturally come together. You'll find a lot of Okinawans can speak English somewhat. It might be broken, but they can speak some English somewhat.
What bands do you like? Like, which you listen to? Maybe Western bands or Eastern bands?
好きなバンドビートルズベンチャーズベンチャーズ You don't know?
Venture. Oh, yeah.
Venture and Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Ah, Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Grateful Dead.
The Grateful Dead.
You too.
Oh, you too.
You too, me too.
A lot of the band's songs are about peace, and I asked if they had a message for the West.
ね、もうそろそろ20世紀は戦争をたくさん起こしたから21世紀は今度愛を探してくださいって。
England during the 20th century made many wars. Now England going into the 21st century has to be responsible for making peace.
Japan's islands stretch for 2,000 miles. At the end of the chain are the tiny Yoyama Islands of Ishigaki, Takatomi and Iriamoti. On Takatomi, scooters can be hired by the hour. Iriamoti is the last island in the chain that makes up Japan. The next piece of land is Taiwan. There's one thing that I found out about Japan, and that is you never seem to get away from the crowds and crowds of people. But I've actually managed to do it here in the southernmost island. Found myself a bit of isolation.